Greetings from New Zealand, my name's Lindsay Field. I'm going to go through this hoof with you at a very basic level because I realise that a lot of my videos have been a little bit high powered, going through the structures and a little bit deep. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the external features of the hoof in a very brief and very light way. Well, I'm going to try to be brief and light and not go into detail. And then I'm going to take a sagittal section, which means straight down the centre of the hoof, and we're going to have a look at the structures inside the hoof. And again, I'm going to try and make that as basic as I can for you. Try and get right back to first principles. This hoof was a left hind hoof. And normally with a hind hoof, can you see that we've got a little bit of flaring out this side? And that's, well, I would say reasonably normal to see a little bit of flaring on the medial side. And the medial side means the middle, so that's towards the inside. So this is the outside of the hoof. So that's the first thing I'm seeing, is that little bit of flaring on that side there. And the other thing that I'm looking at is the capsule. And I can see all these lines that are running down from here to the ground, and they are the tubules that I keep talking about. If you look really carefully, you'll see lots and lots and lots of lines in there. Just going to zoom in for you so you can get a better look. There we go. This is a really good example of all the tubules that are running from the coronary band, actually from a groove in there, right down to the bottom. So those tubules are being produced all the time by the foot, and they're being produced in the area just underneath here. There's like a C shape in there, and that's where they're being produced, and they're being pushed down one cell at a time until they get to the bottom. And then ideally they should be worn off. And so the constant wearing at the bottom creates more tubules being produced at the top. So that's what we're seeing here when we look at all these lines. We're seeing the tubules. And the other thing that we look at when we're looking at a hoof, we actually look at these, what I like to call event lines or growth lines. And you can just about see a shadow of a line through there. And that's to show growth that has been and gone. So the tubules and the growth of the horn is up here, and it comes down. And so what we're seeing here, say for example, there's like a band through there, a very faint band. So that's probably about 2 centimeters long from here, from when it started to grow. So that could probably be a couple of months old, maybe 12 weeks. So 12 weeks ago something happened, or it could be a very minor thing, change of pasture, a wormer. It could be nothing, but sometimes we see really, really big lines, really, really big event lines that go across our horse's feet. And that's when we need to have a little bit more thinking about what's gone on and why are we seeing these event lines. I think you can see quite a nice one coming through here. And what's interesting is that the difference in the horn tissue from here to here, can you see that this is all like a bit shabby and a bit broken away? And it looks like it's sort of long breakages going down through there. It's almost as if, looks like the tubules are starting to split. That's what it almost looks like to me. And I would have thought that the reason we've got this is a change of diet. So I would have thought that we've got a better diet up this side, which was historically in the last 3 months, and then not such a good diet from this point down. But this is all hypothetical, but it's something that you can look at your own horse's hoof and you can see the quality of the horn growth. And the horn growth is that whole coating that is on the outside of the horse's foot. And here we can see really nicely, you see this big band of dark, that's just pigment, and there's another band through there, and there's another band through there. And again, it's following the lines of the tubules. So can you see the tubules are actually running at an angle like this? And that is actually what they do. They do run at an angle, you know, they don't go straight down like that. They run like this. And ideally, we want them to be standing up a little bit. We don't want them to be all running forward. So sometimes we see tubules at the edges of the foot here where they're running more horizontal, and that's something we don't really want to see. What else can I see in this foot? Well, I can see some wear through here. Can you see that's quite shiny through there? And there's also some wear here, some quite significant wear on that side. And what I think has happened here is that there's been the two back feet have been a wearing together and a hitting together there. That's my hypothesis. But here we've got some really lovely wear. It's almost been polished. And because this is a back foot, that could mean that this is dragged a little bit when the horse was moving. Maybe in the arena the sand has polished this up a little bit. But that's actually quite beautiful, isn't it? It's quite polished and shiny, and you can't see any of the rubbish through here, and it probably is not so good down here, but it's all probably been polished out. And there's a little bit of damage that's all gone up through here. It's just like a whole layer's come off, but no, that's nothing really too much to worry about with this foot. And the other things that we can see inside here is I can see a bit of redness going through there. And on a white foot, redness is quite easy to see. And I've read and I've been told that really we don't want to see this red staining. Having redness means that there's pressures going on and there's issues going on in the foot to do with blood maybe leaking out or bruising going on. So if you see redness in your horse's foot, then you need to think about speaking with your farrier or trimmer about it. Now this bit here, I don't think this is anything. I think this is just post-mortem blood that's leached down. So that's the outside of the foot. So this is the hoof capsule as we know it. And the back of the foot here is where the heels are. These are the bulbs, these big bits here. And the heel, if I just turn this round and we look at this part here where the heel hits the ground, that's called the heel purchase. And what we want is we want the heels to be reasonably far back. We don't want them right forward because they need to be further back in order to take the weight of the horse adequately. Now, quite often I never see heels that are exactly the same distance. Can you see like this one's going down a little bit? I'm always seeing this. I never seem to see it looking exactly parallel. And I think it's just the way the horses move. You know, maybe they're a little bit lopsided on one side. And I mentioned the flare a little bit earlier on, and you can see the flare through here reasonably well. Can you see how it's actually coming out a little bit more there compared to this? And it seems to be that these flares always seem to be on the inside of the foot. So the bit that's towards the middle seems to get the most flare. And that is definitely what we're seeing in this foot.